Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrandt and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again. In this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, we are going to shed a little bit of light to a topic that is not widely discussed, and these are psychology traps that can come with your insomnia. And the bad thing is that these hidden traps can actually keep you from getting rid of your insomnia, and you won't even notice. And I know that this is a very special topic. It does not relate to everybody, but it's a quite interesting one, and it's not exclusively tied to insomnia. But let's get a little bit more concrete here, because what I was saying so far was more than vague, and you're probably asking yourself what we're really talking about here. So let's just assume that you have insomnia, and this is also true for other diseases, and this is really negatively impacting your life. And let's further assume that this magic fee would come along and give you one free wish. Then obviously we would think that you would grab that wish and wish yourself healthy again, wish yourself superb sleep. And it turns out that this is not always the case. And the reason for this is that there are secondary wins that can be tied to a negative thing like insomnia. So let's say you don't like your work or whatever, and through your insomnia, you get a special treatment there. You do not have to do every task, or you can take days off. You might also get special treatment at home. You might have more friends taking care of you. You're getting more attention that you may not have had before you had that illness. And these things are super tricky and super mean because we don't want to see them. We don't want to acknowledge that they're there, and that makes them really dangerous for us. By now, you might think this is complete nonsense, or at least does not relate to you. And I want to share a story with you that kind of changed my opinion on this entire topic that I had, must have been 5 years ago. I was sitting in a seminar and one of the trainers was actually sitting in a wheelchair. This was a very confident, good-looking guy. He was doing sports. He was playing basketball in the wheelchair and had a wonderful girlfriend, good-looking, everything you could wish. But he was sitting in a wheelchair. And at some point, his co-trainer shared a story about him, about the wheelchair driver, that kind of blew my mind, and it was exactly about these secondary wins. What this trainer shared with us about the wheelchair driver, let's just call him Peter, that's not his real name, but we're going to call him Peter here to give him a name, is that he said he asked Peter if he wished that he could walk again. And his first reaction was, yeah, sure, I would love to walk again. I would, walk right away if God would let me. And then he said, no, Peter, think about it. Would you really want to walk again? Because I don't know what happened before that. There was a reason for him asking, and I forgot the reason. But they dig deeper, and they're both kind of skilled in coaching, NLP, and whatever. So in the end, Peter came to the conclusion that he was not sure if he wanted to walk again. And at that time, that was really mind-boggling for me. If you would have asked me a day before if I personally believe that there would be one wheelchair driver out there who would not wish to walk and grab the opportunity to walk if he or she could, I would have said no. Everybody would wish to walk again. So what happened the next day is that we asked Peter if this story was true. Obviously it was, because they were friends. And he shared for 15 to 30 minutes with us why he came to the conclusion, how he came to the conclusion, and why. And essentially what he said was, after digging deep, I really realized that my entire life is built around the wheelchair, and it wouldn't be the same. He was a basketball player, and in his wheelchair, he was a top-notch basketball player. So he said, if I would play in a regular basketball group, I wouldn't be that good. I'm a top-notch wheelchair basketball player. The same is true for, when he went to a party or any other occasion, he came to a new place, he got the attention right away. People give more attention to wheelchair drivers, and what he said, if you are confident and feel good with yourself, then you just have so much better and easier connections to other people. And there were a bunch of other things that he came up with. And in the sum, it was so much that he said, I would not be sure if God would come today and tell me that I could walk again if I wished to. I would not be sure if I would speak out that wish. And if this is true for somebody like Peter sitting in a wheelchair, I am sure that this can also be true for us if we are facing insomnia. The scary thing about it is that Peter did not know that this was the case until his co-trainer asked him and went deep with him. So we may be pulled back from secondary wins and don't even know why we're not taking the action to get in front of our insomnia. The hard thing talking about stuff like this is actually that it only affects a certain percentage of us to a degree that it will really block us. But the people that it affects usually say that this is complete crap or even get emotional. So if you feel any kind of tense emotions about this topic in regards to that this is not for you, it might be exactly for you. And that's a thing that you should consider thinking about. If you're somebody who says, okay, I listened to it, I get the concept, and I feel good about it, I'm kind of sure it doesn't affect me, then you're probably good. But if you get emotional in any kind or art, like, this is crap, this is stupid, idiots, and it doesn't affect me, and something like that going through your head in a more or less offended way, then first off, it wasn't my opinion or my intention to offend you. And second off, you should really think about this, because if you do so, you can really get down and tackle the points that keep you from getting in front of our insomnia and taking the appropriate action to get rid of it. And just to give you a little bit more flesh to the bone, or at least underline what I said at the beginning of this podcast, if we have insomnia, we are not feeling good, people around us tend to ask us how we are feeling, how did we sleep, how are things going, can you really do this? Oh, come on, I'm going to take care of that for you. So we're getting a lot of attention, a lot of caring attention that we might not have gotten before, even though we all need it. And this is only a very easy and straightforward example to give you a little bit of better understanding of the concept. I'm sure if you think about this a little bit deeper, then you will come up with other secondary wins that might relate to you or to somebody that you know. And to just give you a little tip, people do not tend to like to hear their secondary wins from others. So better hold back with that if you want to talk to others and be super double honest when it comes to yourself. And the good news is, as soon as you put in the effort and find out what those secondary wins might be for you, then you can find better ways, better solutions to get those needs fulfilled. So this could be a new job, this could be hanging around with other people, and this could be so much. But the first step is always to put in the work and to find out what this is for you. With that, let's wrap up this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast. If you have insomnia and something is pulling you back to do the steps that you should take to get rid of it, then secondary wins could be the thing that you should have a look at. The best way to handle this is to find out what needs they serve and to find better ways to get these fulfilled. And that's it for this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself and that you tune in next week when we are going to talk about how to set clear start and end points to get your sleep schedule fixed. Until then, have a superb sleep. Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.